Hello, good evening, and welcome to F1 tonight. We'll be underway shortly, so stay tuned. Can you hear it now? No, not the countdown, the background and music. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to F1 tonight. And we are here for the Russian Grand Prix at Sochi in the Olympic Village, which was constructed for, I can't remember which Olympics it was now, but we are here in Q1. We have 18 runners and riders with us this evening, so let me run through those. So we have, Rob Mulder, and Rob Mulder not out on track at this moment in time. But Rob Mulder for Williams. Then we have Nicky Visser for Sauber, Guido Ershine for Renault, Miguel Tordi for Force India, Kevin Van Delft, new driver, out on track for McLaren, Ruud Window in the Williams out on track, Martin Paardekooper, he's going to be without his teammate this evening, Peter Phillips, so only the solo Red Bull racing this evening. Mark Stappers in the McLaren, Damie Hartman in the Haas, John Donkel in the Force India, Bas de Breen in the Ferrari. He will not be racing with his teammate Seb Bogart as he is not here this evening. Then we have Marcel Droney, teammate to Guido Ershine in the Renault, Marco Pullen in the Sauber, Boy Williamson in the Haas, Jerome Portmer in the Toro Rosso, Sander Hermans in the Mercedes, teammate Stan Drumkov in Mercedes there, and lastly Miguel France in the Toro Rosso. So majority of cars are currently out on track. This is Q1, and from Q1 we will take 15 drivers into Q2, so 3 drivers to be dropped in this session. Obviously the fastest go through, so everyone still on their outlaps, majority those that have gone out. So we still have to see who will set that fastest time. So I will be joined later on or during the course, probably towards the end of qualification, by my co-commentator, Adrian. He is currently commuting at the moment, so we're running a little bit late, but no great shakes with regards to that. So what I'd like to do is obviously run through the drivers and their current standings at this moment in time. So a quick little run through with the championship while we're waiting for the drivers to set some times, and then obviously something that we can look at. So Seb Bogart, who isn't racing this evening, he is currently still leading the championship on 218 points. Damie Hartman is now equal second. So Damie Hartman for Haas is equal second with Bas de Breen of Ferrari. Both those drivers are on 160 points. Then we have Nicky Visser. He's in fourth place for Sauber. He's on 116 points. John Donkel for Force India is currently fifth in the Drivers' Championship. Then we have Martin Parder-Cooper for Red Bull, he's sixth. Boy Williamson for Haas is seventh. Guido Airshine for Renault is 9. Ruud Window for Williams is, Guido Airshine is 8. Ruud Window for Williams is 9. Mark Stappers for McLaren's 10. Marco Pullen, he's 11. Marcel Droning 12. Miguel Tawney 13. Jerome Portman 14. Marcel France 15. Peter Phillips 16. Stan Drumkov 18. Rob Mulder is 18, Sander Hermans is 19, and Kevin Van Delft is 20. Do remember those last four drivers, Stan Drumkov, Rob Mulder, Sander Hermans and Kevin Van Delft. They are all new drivers to the season, so they have actually started once the season was underway. So they're not doing as bad as it may seem. And in the Constructors' Championship, well, Ferrari are leading the way with 378 points. Haas are second with 241, and Sauber are third on 170. So, opening gambits, everyone is more or less on those hypersofts. So Ruud Window there in the Williams, a set of 1:31.9, nice lap time there. Then Marco Pullen, he set a 1:32.7, so the next closest man is basically around about 8/10 off. Rob Mulder, he set a 1:33.0 for Williams. Martin Parder-Cooper, he's out on track at the moment. He set a 1:33.5. Miguel Tawney for Force India, he set a 1:33.5 as well. But he's actually bettered that now with a 1:33.1. So he's moved ahead of Martin Parder-Cooper provisionally to P4. P6, Sander Hermans, 1:33.6. And looks like somebody else has just dropped. Or yeah, Stan Drum. Look at that, Stan Drumkov's gone in with a 1:32.9. Sorry, 1:32.298. I do apologise. So Stan Drumkov in a Mercedes, 1:32.298. Maybe this Mercedes driver's now started to get a bit more comfortable with the league racing, and is starting to show his colours through. Obviously, we are in qualification. It is down to the race, but a good show certainly from him. So, as I said, Sander Hermans, his teammate, he's on a 1:33.6. Marcel Dronig, 1:33.7. John Donkel, 1:33.7. Marcel France, 1:34.4. Kevin Van Delft, 1:35.2. So, Nicky Visser, Guido, Mark Stappers, Damie Hartman, Bas de Breen, Boy Williamson and Jerome Portman all sail to set times. Looking at this, I'm just trying to think where we're going to be on that drop zone. I would suspect that we're probably going to be round about the mid 1:33, so probably 1:33.7, maybe 1:33.8. So I would suspect that's where the drop zone is going to be for this Q1. Remember, Q1, we will take 15 drivers through to Q2, so 3 drivers to be dropped on this session. So see where we are. We're with Guido Airshine here as he's coming round. Try to see if I can maybe pick somebody up as they're starting their lap. And indeed, I think we have that opportunity here. So, we are on board with Marcel France as he starts his lap. You immediately have the DRS zone as you go into the easy right-hander of turn 1. Then you're coming down into turn 2. Now, this is a hard right, but then turn 3 loops all the way round to the left. It's like a big horseshoe. Got to watch it on there. Very careful, certainly once you get to the apex of that curve. Then we come down to turn 4, hard right. And as we come approaching turn 5, we go into sector 2, and again hard right on turn 5. That leads you down to an easy right turn 6. Hard right here now, turn 7. That leads straight to hard left, easy left. Those are turns 8 and 9. Coming up to turn 10 now, hard right there. Now you see the DRS detection zone is here, and the DRS activation line is just coming up. Oh, it's gone. Didn't see it on the track, but anyway, there it was, coming down to turn 13. Under the bridge, turn 14. Then we're in the final, sector 3 now, hard left, turn 15. Hard right, turn 16. Quick spit and spur as he comes into the pits, and that's turn 17, and you can see there just ahead that turn 18. So 18 turns all together, 2 DRS points. So the first DRS point is just after the start finish, so detection is more or less on the pit exit, and that's after turn 1 coming down to turn 2. Second DRS point is on the back of the track, so coming out of sector 2, end of sector 2, coming into sector 3, and that's effectively between, well, just after 10, going through turn 11 and just down to before turn 12. The track itself, well, it's quite an interesting track, obviously, as tracks go. Obviously, as I said, it's built in the middle, effectively, of the Olympic Village. So that's always interesting, and obviously gives us a somewhat, I suppose, interesting viewpoint, if you like. The actual track itself, well, that's 5.848 kilometres, and for those of you that interested more in miles, it's 3.634 miles. The fastest lap was achieved by Valtteri Bottas in the 2018 season with a 1:35.8. Do remember that fastest lap time is not during qualification, it is actually race pace. So the fastest race time for the lap, and that was a 1:35.8, as I say, by Valtteri Bottas. And we're now starting to get things heated up, as we can see. And indeed, 15 is a 1:33.717 by Marcel Dronig. 16 at the moment, John Donkel with that 1:33.752. Mark Stappers, he's a bit off the mark there, 1:35.2. Kevin Van Delft, his teammate, also a bit off the mark there, also on the 1:35.2. Oh, Mark Stappers betters that time, goes to 1:34.3, but still not good enough. He needs to shave about a second off that, and ideally his teammate a couple of seconds. So we've got 5 minutes remaining, and indeed that drop zone time, as I said, I was thinking around about 1:33.7, 1:33.8 is indeed 1:33.717 as it stands at the moment in time. That's Marcel Dronig. He's not taking anything for granted, this Renault driver. Staying out on track, he wants to try and obviously better that time and assure his place into Q2. While we've been talking as well, Bastard Breen set the fastest time so far today with a 1:31.742. Only a couple of tenths faster than Ruud Windau, and Ruud hasn't responded to us yet. No real need to. Obviously, he's into Q2. Q2 is more likely where we're going to see these drivers start to come back and respond, and let us know what they really can do. Remember also, when we get into Q2, the top 10 drivers, whatever they qualify on, whatever their time to effectively get in those top 10 to get into Q3, they will have to use those tyres for the start of the race. The remaining 5 drivers that drop out in Q2, they will have a choice of tyres, as will the 3 drivers that will drop out of this Q1. So at the moment, Marcel Dronig is firmly in that zone. John Donkel has improved his time with a 1:33.6. Guido Ehrschein is currently P15 with a 1:33.6. But who's improved their time? Well, it has been Mark Stackers. He's put in a blinding time, 1:33.4, so that puts him up into P13. His teammate Kevin van Delft is still in that drop zone though. So what do these guys need to do? Well, by the looks of it, they actually need to go sub 1:33.5, really. And that could be dangerous because it could push out Guido Ehrschein. Guido is actually out on track at this moment to respond to anybody that may come back on that. And I think I suppose he came out as best he could. He may have come out just a little bit too early. Probably would have left it about another minute or so, just in case. But Guido Ehrschein is currently 15th, so he is the last man standing. John Donkel, he's on a 1:33.62. He's in the pits at the moment. Marcel Dronig, Guido's teammate, is out on track. He's on a 1:33.7. Now he's just coming up around the final sector now. It's not looking too bad. He's only got 2 more turns to go. Let's see what he can do. I think we could be looking at him possibly bettering his time. It is looking pretty good there. Yes, he does. 1:33.6. So Marcel Dronig takes a 10th out of his time. Oh, but sorry, doesn't register. He obviously went wide off the track there because the 1:33.7 is still showing. So he can obviously improve it. He's just got to watch those track limits like that, and that isn't what he wanted to do. So immediately turn 1 there goes off track. That has meant that this lap will be invalidated, so he needs to get round pretty sharpish so he can get started indeed cutting a few corners there to make sure he's got time, but he shouldn't be a problem. Kevin van Delft, he's out on track. He's just gone round turn 14, coming round the final sector now of the track, and the final 2 turns for him. Let's see what he can do. He needs to better that 1:35.2. He certainly has done that with a 1:34.9, but not enough. Not enough to take him out of that drop zone at this moment in time. So he needs to really do something spectacular. He's got 1 more lap in which he can do it. Marcel Dronig, he's out on track at the moment, as is John Donkel. Let's ride with John Donkel. Now he's on his out lap, so he's probably timed this about right. He'll probably be the last man actually able to complete a full lap. So I think he's planned that just right there. Marcel Dronig, he's just coming round, I think turn 10 now, down to 11. Kevin van Delft looks like he's in the final sector here. No, he's just coming round on the DRS as well. So DRS, you can see the flap wide open there. Round 13, round 14 now. So Marcel Dronig is just behind him. Let's see what Kevin van Delft can do. He needs to better that 1:34.7. He's on a 1:20 at this moment in time. Is he? No, he's quitting out. He's into the pits. That's it. That's it. So Kevin van Delft will be starting at the back of the pack. Marcel Dronig, he's coming round now. What can Marcel do? Coming down. Turn 13 there, 14. Final sector now. Turn 15. 16, 2 more turns to go. It's looking good. It certainly is looking a fast lap, that's for sure. I think this could be very, very interesting indeed for the Renault driver. What can he do? 1:33.6, not enough. He stays P16. So John Donkel now. John Donkel, last man standing. He could push out Mark Stappers. Mark is on a 1:33.4. So John really needs to beat at least that mark. He has done a 1:33.6, but he needs to tuck a couple more tenths out of that as he comes around 14 now in that final sector. It's looking pretty good so far on the sector time. I think it's going to be pretty damn close. Final turn now. Can he do it? Can he do it? 1:33.2. Look at that. John Donkel goes into P13 and pushes Mark Stapper into the drop zone. Great, great response there. As I said, last man on track. So P16 will be Mark Stappers in the McLaren. P17 will be Marcel Dronig in the Renault. P18 will be Kevin van Delft in the McLaren. So that's Q1 over, Q2 on its way. So fastest time there set by Basta Breen with at 1:31.7. Lest we forget, rude wind out, only a couple of tenths off. And I am now joined by the illustrious, the great Adrian VIII. That's okay, no worries, mate. Have you got to chat in that call? Just remember I did that or not. You just this sorted for my co-commentator. I'm not going to have a co-commentator if you guys can't hear him. There we go.
Okay, hello.
Hello, good evening once again, Adrian. Did you like that introduction? The illustrious, the great.
Yeah, you're sort of shall we say, the hot kind.
let's not mention the wives though, Adrian.
No, let's not.
Yeah, you know, because murder is a capital offence actually now in England.
All right.
Okay, so I don't know if you caught any of the Q1. We've got 18 runners and riders, so we've dropped 3, but Basta Breen set the provisional fastest time in the first queue with a 1:31.7. Just behind him though was the Williams driver, and that's of I think it was Rob Mulder, if I remember actually. I think it was yeah, it wasn't Rude Window, it was Rob Mulder. Set a 1:31.940.
Good time around this track.
It's not too bad at all. So we got the guys out on track now. Let's catch up with them, and So we've got no Seb Bogart with us this evening. So the champion, or the current champion, leading champion, is not out on track. But again, he's got such a lead at this moment in time. 218 points. He's 58 clear of second place. I guess he can afford to take the odd race out here and there.
Yeah, perhaps he's having a bit of a sabbatical. Maybe it feels like he's earned it.
Yeah, it feels like he's earned it. Oh, I'm okay. Let's see what everyone else can do. So we've seen some good times, as I say. Obviously, we're going to go now from the 15 down to the final 10. 133.5 was the cut-off for Q1. So I'd expect that we'd probably be seeing 132s, mid-high 132s for this Q2.
Yeah, I think so, mate. It might even be a little bit quicker than that, to be perfectly honest. I know these guys are quite a quick punch. And, I know there's times that, they're sort of on par with Division 1 with Synergy, I think.
Yeah, I would say so. Now, bit of a mix here on tyre choice. We've got a number of drivers on the Hypersoft, which the majority were in the first queue. But we've also got some ultra soft runners. But interestingly, John Dunkel, I think this is his favoured strategy. Go deep, go on a harder tyre and go deep, because he's out on those softs again. I mean, he's coming in now. Obviously, he's not doing too well on them because he's coming in to change them. But it tends to be his preferred strategy, I think, John, is going for the longest stint at the start of the races.
Yeah, I've seen that a few times. I know there's quite a few guys who like to use the hardest tyre when hypersofts are available in a race. Yeah, because typically the hypers don't tend to last very long at all. I mean, you're talking sort of 4 or 5 laps. It does depend on the track itself, of course, but that's sort of a rule of thumb. Yeah, it's
interesting.
So I was just going to say, interesting he's come back into the pit. I wonder whether he's sort of deliberately scrubbing those tyres to use them a bit later on in this session.
It could well be. I mean, he's obviously been on practice, so he knows how the tyres respond, and I think that could well be the case. We've had the provisional opening time. Stan Drumkov for Mercedes, he said a 132.5. That's on the ultra softs. Guido Airshine on the Hypersoft to set a 133.3 for Renault. Xander Hermans, that's teammate to Stan Drumkov in Mercedes, he set a 133.4 on the Hypers. Damie Hartman in the Haas, 133.4, that's on the Ultras. Nicky Visser in the Sauber, 133.5 on the Ultras. Marcel France Toro Rosso, 133.5 on the Hypers. And Jerome Portmer, 133.7 on the Ultras. Martin Parder Cooper, not too great there, 134.1. Oh, Stan Dronkov now sets a 132.5 on those Ultras.
Yeah, there we go. I think we're starting to see the sort of the true fast times now. Yeah,
well, I would say that we're probably going to be looking at a drop, a drop time. I would think, looking at these, is probably going to be around about the 132.4, 132.5 for this session.
Yeah, maybe.
It is early doors yet. So it's going to be interesting how this pans out. Now, it's the track itself. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you.
That's the
31.9 on ultras. That's not even on hypers. That's pretty good going.
Yeah. It's not bad at all. 131.9. He did obviously do 134.7, but that was on the hypers in Q1.
Got rude wind now as well on a really fast lap as well. Just interrupted. It's going a bit quick now.
No, by all means. And he's just coming in the final sector now, round.
Yeah, he's just set purple second sector.
2 more turns to go.
Really good first sector, not the best, but really good. I think he's going to be up there front row originally.
Let's have a look at this. Oh, it's been invalidated.
Yeah, quite right.
Yeah, it has been invalidated, so time not come up on that one. What I was going to say is just going to run through the track actually, and I've got to be honest, Adrian, it's not one of my favourite tracks, but it is classified a street track, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's I don't want to sort of mention this track too much, but I don't know if you remember Valencia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of that, but for good reasons, not for bad ones. I actually quite like Russia. Didn't used to when it sort of first come around in, what was it, 2014? It was in line with the Olympics, wasn't it?
It was,
And,
yeah, because it was the 2011 Olympics that the village was built for. And I think the track, I don't think it was built at the time. I think well, it might have been built at the time. I think it was just after, actually.
I think the first Russian Grand Prix was the same year as the Russian Olympics.
Oh, so it was 2011 then. Oh, it was 14. I think it was built for 2011, but may have only come into 14. Yeah, I mean, that first sector, no great shakes on turn one. It's not a particularly exciting first corner for the start, from the start-finish line, nor turn two. But at turn three, that horseshoe turn three, can be quite tricky, especially on the opening laps when you've got a lot of traffic around you.
Yeah, it can be, yeah. Obviously it's the sort of high downforce downforce is important on that corner, so as soon as you start drafting behind someone, you're going to find all lots of kind of rear grip, and that can catch drivers out. It's unexpected now.
For those of you that are watching now, we're actually running with rear window, and he's actually going around that long sort of horseshoe turn three now. There's a lot of what I call left-right sort of junction turns on this track. A lot of 45-degree turns. It's quite. It doesn't have, to my way or my sensation, is a great flow. But that said, I mean, what corners or what sections do you find are probably are the more tricky sections, let us say?
Well, I actually find the last sort of 3 or 4 corners, I find those the most difficult to do consistently right, or consistently correctly, quickly. It's especially when you're sort of under pressure, when when you've got warm tyres, under race conditions as well. It's obviously all very well doing it in time trial, but trying to do it in the race, lap after lap. I do find it difficult. It's that last sector.
It's hitting those apexes, and I think that's the tricky thing on there, because the apexes actually on that last sector are quite close to walls, so I think it tends to sort of put you off a little bit of hitting those apexes and riding those curbs. You get a little bit put off by it because you just don't want to pan it into the wall.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it becomes sort of a bit like Monaco in that respect. That you're trying to push the car, but you're also wary of the walls around you, so you don't kind of push too hard. It's just finding that. It's just being kind of being brave enough to just go for it and having the skill to be able to pull it off. Yeah,
I think that pretty much sums it up. And it is a tiring track. It is quite a strenuous track as well. I mean, remember these guys in F1 tonight, they are doing the full race distance, and it is quite tight. I think there's probably only one sort of bit or couple of bits where you can sort of relax, and that's between sort of turn 10 coming down to the little chicane into the final sector before you go under the bridge. That's pretty easy through that DRS zone. And out of turn 1 down to turn 2, I mean, again, you've got the DRS zone there. Those are probably, out of turn 8, the final turn 18 down to turn 2. Those are probably the only 2 areas of the track where you can sort of, not relax, but, sort of breathe out a little bit more.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. It's interesting you mentioned that section, actually, with the DRS zone. It's actually one of the few tracks that actually has a DRS zone through a curve, which it's only a slight curve, mind, but it is one of only, I think it's about 4 tracks that have it. And, I have seen people lose it on DRS just because the turns just a tad too sharp and just lost back in.
Yeah, and we're just actually running around that sector now with Sander Hermans. And then, we're not running. We're running through the earlier sector. We're just going to come up with him now. That's the other sector I don't like around this, is that sort of turns 8 and 9 as you're going round by the stadium. very easy to miscalculate that and actually go wide on there as well.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, it's a difficult one to get right. It's basically it's another one of those ones where you've just got to be brave enough to try it and still put it off.
Yeah, that's very true indeed. And here we can see now Zander Hermans coming down round that set, and you can see that was the DRS zone there with that corner. That's turn 11. So where are we at this moment in time? Well, Basta Breen still heading the board there with that 131. Ruud Windahl, he's got a 132.1. Stan Drumkov 132.5. Nicky Visser 132.6. Guido Airshine 132.6. Rob Mulder 132.8. Boy Williamson 133.0. So the drop zone is a 133.2. Oops, change that. 133.1 now. I was expecting a little bit faster on that actually. I'm a little bit disappointed by that we're looking at a drop of a 133.1.
Well, I suppose you could say it is Q2. You know, the drivers just want to do one lap. You know, just bang their lap and come in and they don't want to use up too much of the tyre pre-race because they're going to start the race on these tyres. I think it's only, it's kind of only the guy who's sort of 7th and downwards that would be concerned about doing faster laps. I think the bottom end of Q3, I think we could see, those times might be around sort of the 32.6 mark. Yeah.
Well, Martin Parder Cooper was provisional 11. He's jumped straight into 6 with that 132.8. In the drop zone, though, we have Zander Hermans for Mercedes. He's on that 133.1. Damie Hartman, 133.4 for Haas. John Donkel, 133.5. Marcel France for Toro Rosso and teammate to John Donkel, Miguel Torni. So potentially we're looking at both the Force Indias going out of this session at this moment in time. And as I say that, Miguel Torni comes in with a 132.8 and goes into 9.
Don't know if that, well, there's only a few seconds left in the session, plus whatever laps they're going to do.
There is.
I don't know if you noticed, John Donkel's decided to bin the idea of using that soft tyre.
He has, yeah, he has. He's gone on to those ultra softs, but it hasn't paid off for him. He's in P14 at the moment, at this moment in time. He's just coming round now, and it doesn't look like he's going very fast. I think he's just going to go straight in the pits. I think he's resigned to the fact. Yeah, I thought there was something up there. So he's out of fuel, so he'll be starting P14. Only 6 seconds remaining. I'm just trying to see who else is on track that can actually get past here. And can't really see anyone. I think that's pretty much it now, isn't it? It looks like that is it. Boy Williamson will be taking provisional P11 in the Haas. Marco Pullen will be alongside him in row 6 in the Sauber. Then we have Zander Hermans. He is actually out of track. So Zander Hermans is the only man, I think, and Marcel France. Yeah, and Marcel France coming around the final sector now. So let's go with Marcel France.
Damien Hartman is looking to, oh no he wasn't, he just come in, just as I was about to say, he's looking to improve his lap times.
Oh dear.
The first sector wasn't improving, the second sector wasn't far off his best, and he was still in mode 5.
This is going to be interesting for Marcel France. Marcel France, still in the drop zone. He does push himself up to P11. He was in P15, but he will be starting in P11. So Marcel France for Toro Rosso will be in the 6th row. Alongside him will be Boy Williamson in the Haas. And then in row 7, we have Marco Pullen in the Sauber. Alongside him, well, still to be determined actually. Zander Hermans out on track. He still can't set time, but I think that's it. No, that's it. Yeah, he's invalidated it. So Zander Hermans in the Mercedes will be starting in row 7, P14. And John Donkel will be in row 8. P15. So there you have it. Those are our 15 runners and riders, our top 10 now selected, and we'll be going into Q3 shortly. Just see the results of that as it comes up. And there you have confirmation of that. Basta Breen, obviously provisional first in that session. And in the drop zone there, Marcel France for Red Bull, sorry, for Toro Rosso, takes P11. Boy Williamson for Haas, P12. Marco Pullen for Sauber, P13. Zander Hermans for Mercedes, P14. John Donkel will be P15. Through to the top 10, Rob Mulder, Miguel Torney, Jerome Portman, Martin Pardercooper, Guido Ershine, Damie Hartman, Nicky Visser, Stan Drumkov, Ruud Window, and of course, Bas de Breen. Well, Adrian, this is going to be interesting how this pans out. I mean, Bass is looking pretty much favourite at this moment in time. He's been putting in some blinding times, but Nicky Visser, as always, he's in the mix. And also Rob Mulder in the Williams, and his teammate Ruud Window as well. I mean, he hasn't set a great time, but also the new Mercedes driver, Stan Drumkov, he does seem to perform well when it comes to these qualification sessions, but he just hasn't been able to deliver on race, and that's his failing at this moment in time.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, the race is the biggest part of of this.
Yeah,
and,
indeed.
It's it's all very well being able to nail quality, but you've got to put time into hopefully a bit of Grand Prix mode. I find that helps to me personally.
Yeah, it's getting to know what to do with traffic around you and not to get phased by it. That's the big thing. Concentrate on what you're doing. Don't worry what's around you. So Damie Hartman is the first man out on track, and I think pretty much everybody is coming out. Jerome Portman, Stan Drumkov still in the pits, Miguel Torney and Rob Mulder, but I think they'll be coming out shortly. So just under 11 minutes remaining, and we will see who will deliver.
Who's your money on?
I don't know. Obviously, Bass is looking strong. Rob Mulder's looking strong. I don't know. I think Nicky Visser, because Nicky's been putting in some great competitive racing this season. He's been unfortunate on a few, but he really has stepped up his game this season. We haven't seen a lot from him, obviously, in the qualies. Obviously, he's got through to Q3. I don't know. I just got a feeling that we could see something interesting from the Sauber driver today, and I think he's probably feeling it's about time that I got back up on that podium and started getting some serious results, because he was really cracking it at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's definitely got the pace. I know I haven't sort of seen too many of these guys' races, but I definitely saw him leading the race at Hungary before Codemasters decided they weren't going to let him win and put a barrier in front of him in the pit lane.
Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it?
That was bizarre.
Has to be said.
I've been trying to recreate it myself, I can't get it to work. But
I think it was just during a previous run that somebody coming into the pits effectively had hit that barrier, pushed it across, and in so doing, it had remained in that position. But it was a horrible way for him to go out, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. But I mean, he's obviously got the ability to get into that position. Another guy I think probably will do well at this race, and I think might take pole here is Ruud Window.
Yeah, Ruud Window. Yeah, Window. Just think of the Jedi.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Window. Very good. I'm not going to forget that.
Yeah. So yeah, Ruud Window. Yeah, he has. I mean, he's again, he's a new driver, but Williams have got a strong lineup here. They may not have had having the best season this season, but I think they are new drivers. They are new this season, and I really think they're a good team, and I expect a lot from them. I think from the next season.
Yeah. I mean, they've definitely got some strong drivers there. As you say, they're both new, aren't they, or fairly new?
Yeah, they are both new to this season. So they've only got the races that they started. I think they probably didn't even start right at the beginning. So they probably only got about 10, maybe 9 races each experience at this moment in time.
Yeah. I think another one to watch out for might be the Haas driver there, Damien Hartman, or the Catman as I call him. Again, because of Hungary. Cat jumped across his steering wheel and ruined his race from the lead as well. But
yeah, but I mean, he's looking strong, Damie. He's second in the championship at the moment. He's equal second with Basta Breen for Ferrari. So yeah, I mean, it's been a good season for him as well.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on him in this quality.
Indeed, you can see Bass's opening gambit there. Obviously, that 1:31.2. Ruud Windahl with that 1:31.4. Stan Dromkov 1:34.7. Rob Mulder 1:32.1. So they're all looking pretty strong at this moment in time, aren't they?
Yeah, some proper times to see now. We're getting on to the kind of my kind of time trial times. I think that the whole time is actually faster than my time trial. But rather interestingly, we've seen Tawny on the Force India. He's running on the ultra soft tyre in Q3. A little bit unusual. Perhaps he's saving his hyper sets for later on in this session, or indeed the race itself.
Could be, but I mean, you can't unless he's thinking of doing. Well, let's see. He'd have to do 2-3 stints, wouldn't he? Surely to get any advantage out of that.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, he might just be sort of, feeling the track at the moment on the ultras before he does a proper lap on the Hypersoft. Yeah,
it could be, or he could just simply have made a mistake.
Let's give him the benefit of the doubt.
It has been known, and certainly you and I have both seen it in league racing, where the driver has just gone in and just, for some apparent reason, just completely selected the wrong tyre, or the pit crew got the wrong tyre, and it's that is disastrous when that happens. So.
We've all done it. We've all done it. So.
Yeah.
No worries there.
It's not an unusual one, let's say. Let's put it like that. So, I mean, pretty strong certainly for those top three. I mean, they're all in the 1:31s. Bit of a mix. We've got Ferrari, Williams, and also Mercedes. But as you said, Rob Mulder, he's there, isn't he? That 1:32.1. He's currently in the second row. So Williams are looking strong for this race. Guido Airshine in the Renault, 1:32.2. He's in provisional row 3 at the moment with Damien Hartman, the second place in the championship in the Haas alongside him. Martin Parner Cooper in the Red Bull. He hasn't got his teammate with him tonight, Peter Phillips. He's in that P7. Nicky Visser. Nicky's not... I'm expecting a little bit more. I'm surprised that Nicky, he's just coming in the pits now. Is he exiting the pits? I think he's coming in, isn't he? Yeah, because that's the garage at the end of the... Yeah, it is. So Nicky's coming in. I think he's a bit disappointed with that as well, because he's obviously coming in. I'm a bit surprised by that. I did shout out Nicky, but I think he's strong for the race, but he doesn't seem to be quite in there. I'd expect to be a little bit higher up on this at the moment.
Yeah, it's always the way, isn't it? Some drivers have favourite tracks, and they have tracks they absolutely hate. We've seen sort of highly skilled drivers, in real life struggle on particular tracks.
Yeah.
They just sometimes just don't suit. They just can't.
And it also depends on the night as well, doesn't it? I mean, you and I were commentating last night with Synergy, and we both commented on one of the drivers for the team there. He'd given up his main seat with Ferrari, decided to go reserve driver, and came into the race as a reserve driver and probably delivered the best result of his season.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it was his first podium of the season, and this was in a race that he wasn't expected to even attend.
Yeah. And it's just that stress factor. We were discussing this yesterday. Sometimes the pressure that the drivers can put on themselves is immense. And I think if you can chill out and just, be relaxed before you get into that race. I think it can make such a difference. I mean, it does for me. I know it does.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I'm sure it does for many others as well.
Yeah, it's so important to just kind of try your best to get into, you know, the zone. You know, Kimi Räikkönen's famous for using the lavatory about an hour before, and then having an half hour to hit.
What, in a lavatory?
Well, maybe in a lavatory. But yeah, no,
I mean, the thing is,
he always does it.
Yeah. Well, you know, if he takes in the sun, he'd be done and out within about 5 minutes, I think, wouldn't he? He'd have to take something a bit chunkier in, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I think so. And Guardian.
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. If he read the Guardian, he might come out leaning a little bit to one side, I think.
Yeah.
Well, we've got under 2 minutes remaining now, and it's pretty much that. Nobody's really sort of put in any more blistering time. I think we're going to see a final spurt now, though, in this sort of minute and a half.
Yeah, we should do. I can tell you that Damien Hartman has improved his first sector by some margin, actually. He's looking like he's probably going to go. He's going to try and squeeze into those top three if he can maintain this pace. Second sector's good, but not great. Okay, he might be third row. I think he might be. It might just go ahead of China.
Well, let's see what happens. I mean, he could still. Well, he can't now. He's only got 2 more corners to go.
Yeah, the guy behind him.
It's not looking too bad, actually. I think.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on him as he crosses the line.
Ooh,
here.
132.2. Yeah, third row. So still alongside Erskine.
Yeah, it's an improvement, but it's
Miguel
not enough
Torni's
of an
gone out.
improvement.
What's happened there? Miguel Torni's gone out.
He has gone out.
Look at that. Bassett's at 130. 130.8.
Okay. Alright, this is getting silly now. I don't know how he's managing that. That's a really good time. I don't think I've ever seen it.
That's 5/10 faster than Ruud Windahl. I mean, he didn't really have to push. He already had first place.
That's why Pardew was going to cross the line. He's going to jump, I think. No, he lost it in the last sector. His first and second sectors were a big improvements on his best, but yeah, it's just that final sector, those last like 4 corners I mentioned earlier on. You know, I really struggled with that, so I lose all my time, and he's done exactly that. Yeah, it's somewhat a bit like Mexico. That sort of that final set of corners in Mexico, and you're coming through the arena. It's, I mean, obviously it's not the same layout, but it's the same sort of thing. You can do it fast. But it's one of those places where you can lose horrendous amounts of time. Yeah. That's a good comparison, actually. Yeah, Mexico's final sector is very, very similar to this, and I struggle with both.
Oh well, there we go. You're not the only one, Adrian. Don't worry, you're not alone on that one. So there we have it. Basterbreen didn't really need to set the mark there. He was already in P1, but decided, no, let me show these guys what I can really do. Sets a blinding one. Yeah, proving the point, definitely. Sets a blinding 130.8. Ruud Windahl, he'll be alongside him in that front row. In the Williams, Stan Drumkov will be in the second row. Alongside him will be Rob Mulder, teammate to Ruud Windahl in the Williams. Then third row we have Guido Erskine in the Renault. Alongside him will be Damien Hartman. Yep.
Sorry, Visser is gonna jump ahead if he doesn't like this last corner up. He's gonna. Oh, there we go.
Oh, nice one. That's a little bit more like it. Nicky Visser actually gets up in the third row. Nice. Pushes Guido back into. Sorry, what am I saying? He's going to be in the third row. Yeah. So he's actually going to be alongside Guido Erskine, and Damien Hartman get pushed into the fourth row. So Damien Hartman's now in the fourth row alongside Martin Pardew. Miguel Torni will be in row 5. Alongside him will be Jerome Portmer. But Nicky just pulling it out of the bag just the last minute there, didn't he?
Yeah, he's the maintained pace.
I think he has, because you know, I didn't feel that he was in the right position there, sort of down in potential P8 starting on the grid. So, yeah, definitely he has shown that he is more than capable, and it's shaping up to be an interesting race, I think.
Yeah, it is. Baz de Briant has an absolutely phenomenal lap, 30.8. It obviously just really sort of in tune with this track. He must love it.
Well, I'm not too sure whether he loves it, but he's certainly got tuned into it, as you say. So there he will be in that front row, and yeah, he's definitely going to be the man to aim for. Ruud Window in the Williams, he's in second place. Mercedes in third with Stan Drumkov. Stan is obviously new to the race. I think he's only probably done about 6 or 7 races. I don't think he's completed too many either. Generally, DNFs or has issues, although he has, I think, completed a couple. Going to be tricky for him, isn't it, in that third place? He obviously deserves it. He set the time. But he's just got to switch off and not think about what's around him and concentrate on what's ahead of him, I think.
Well, that's very much easier said than done.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely. If he can keep it in, keep it in one piece, just keep out of trouble. Yeah, I mean, it definitely be on for a podium.
Well, the drivers now are getting all ready, and we'll be starting the processional lap shortly. Okay, let's call it. This is a little game we play, I think, with Synergy, and we've done it as well here as well with the F1 tonight, guys. Who you gonna call?
I'm going to go for the Williams man, Ruud Window. I think he might. Yeah, it's going to come down to strategies. I mean, there's no doubt about De Brien's raw pace, but how long can he do that on his tyres? I mean, if the drivers behind him can just manage their tyres a bit better, they possibly get the undercut on them or even overcut.
Well, the top 5 drivers all starting on the ultra softs. Everyone else is on the hyper softs, but John Donkel, who's gone on to the ultra softs, Marcel France and Boy Williamson. So it's going to be interesting from that point of view. So there we have Baz de Briant. He's going to be starting P1 alongside him. Ruud Window in the Williams. Stan Drumkov will be P3. Rob Mulder for Williams, P4. Nicky Visser for Sauber, P5. Guido Airshine for Renault, P6. Damie Hartmann for Haas will be P7. Martin Parder-Cooper for Red Bull, P8. P9, Miguel Torni, Force India. Jerome Portman, Toro Rosso, 10. Marcel France's teammate, 11. Boy Williamson, Haas. Bit out of place there, Boy, down in 12. Marco Pullen also a bit out of place in the Sauber there, P13. Zander Hermans in the Mercedes, he's going to be 14. John Donkel definitely out of place down there in 15 in the Force India. Mark Stappers for McLaren, P16. Marcel Dronig for Renault, P17. Kevin van Delft will be bringing up the rear in row 9 in the McLaren. Oh dear, just a little bit against the barrier there as he was coming round 10. So this is going to be the one now, and I still haven't called mine, have I? I'm still trying to avoid it.
Family on the fence.
I'm trying to avoid it. I am really trying to avoid it. I'm actually going to go with the other Williams driver, or Rob Mulder.
Rob Mulder, nice.
Yeah, so I'll go Williams, but I'm going to go with the Williams driver, Rob Mulder.
Interesting, neither of us gone for the obvious choice.
Well, yeah, to be fair, we should really go for the obvious. Yeah, we'll ignore him.
Half a second faster.
Ignore Bass, because he's half a second faster. Let's just ignore him and not worry about it. So the drivers now are on the start grid. Lights are coming on, and we are off for the start of this F1 tonight, 2018 Russian Grand Prix, and immediately Ruud Window gets ahead of Baz de Briant. Look at that, straight away.
At the back.
3 o'clock. Oh, a massive collision. Marcel France and Marcel Dronig, Miguel France and Marcel Dronig, both out, Toro Rosso and Renault, and that was in turn 1 there. So definite coming together. And have we got, VSC is out, slow down. So that collision in the back there was major, and that was round turn 1, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, apparently not exciting turn 1. Just turned into a very exciting
turn 1. Yeah.
Yeah, not too sure what happened. I was having a look at the guys at the back. I did the recording. I'll have a look at that now.
Yeah, by all means do so, because I was obviously keeping an eye on the guys at the front there. So you could certainly see in the background, and I think it was probably avoidance causing collision, if that makes sense. I think you'll know what I mean by that. So Miguel France and Marcel Dronig, Renault and Toro Rosso both out now.
Damien Hartman actually got a jump start. Start that race.
Jerome Portman's out as well. Jerome Portman's out, he's DNF'd as well. So both the Toro Rosso drivers are out now.
It looks like, just looking at the replay, it looks like the Toro Rosso of Marcel France that comes across the front of the McLaren of Max Verstappen's and just ends up sort of, getting T-boned by him.
Takes out Marcel Dronig. And looks like you can see guys coming into pits. Sander Hermans into the pits, Guido Ehrschein into the pits, Damien Hartman into the pits. So clearly all these guys have either picked up damage or have decided they want to come in and do a quick tyre change. Winners at this moment in time, well, Boy Williamson, he's moved up 6 places, as has Marco Pullen, and they've moved up to 6th and 7th place respectively. Kevin van Delft started right at the back, he's already moved up to P10. John Donkel, he's moved up 4 to 11, as has Mark Stappers, who's moved up from 16 to 12. So clearly that collision, it's taken out, well, at this moment in time, 3 drivers, Jerome Portman DNFing before the end of lap 2.
I've no idea how Stappers avoided damage during all of that, because he was right in the middle of it all. And yeah, he managed to, it looks like he's escaped unscathed.
Does at this moment in time. I'm running on board with him. I think he may have some front wing damage. I'm just having a look at him now. No, front wing is looking pretty good actually. Yeah, he may have lost. Yeah, he's lost some winglets off the front left.
Okay. Good spot.
But only about 2 or 3 by the looks of it. He hasn't lost them all. He's got the obviously the outer one. He has lost the winglets yet on the left of the front wing there, but he's obviously happy to continue with that. Marco Pullen setting the provisional fastest lap there. That's interesting. Obviously, VSC is off. We are back under race conditions. But look at this. Basta Breen is all over. Ruud Window here, isn't he? Look at this.
Fair play to Ruud, though. He's still ahead.
He is, and he's defending very, very well indeed. So they're coming round now. They obviously will have. Sorry, just a little bit of a deep breath there. They will obviously have had they will have DRS on Ruud Window once they come round this turn 10. That's the detection point they've just gone past. Activation point will be here now. Is this Ferrari close enough? 5/10, is he close enough to take it out of him before they get down to turn 12? No, he has closed down, and he's certainly closing down as they come round 13. But Ruud Window, I'm just watching him, he's really riding those curbs very, very well indeed. He's got a lovely line round here.
Yeah, he's doing really well, and as you said, defending well against Green behind him. One thing to note though, while these 2 drivers are sort of trying to overtake and defend against each other, the drivers behind, Stan Drunkov and Rob Mulder, are slowly catching the 2 in front.
Yep, they are. Rob Mulder there, he's only 1.6 off the back of Stan Drunkov, and Stan is almost within a second of Basta Breen, so clearly the fight has put it out there. Nicky Visser, he's currently in P5. He's nearly 3 seconds down the road. Boy Williamson, he's P6. Marco Pullen, And he's getting pretty close to Boy Williamson there. Having a look down here, Miguel Tawney, he looks like he's going to be probably challenging Mark Stappers before long. Kevin Van Delft has lost the place, he's got down to 13. Oh, he's in the pits, that's why. So let's have a look. I mean, Bass is not closing up on here. They're both on the ultras. He's not really getting too close at this moment. Is he just sort of biding his time? Surely not. I mean, they're coming round now, turn 10 again. He's got the DRS, but he just seems to be able to close him down.
No, well, it is notoriously difficult to get close during sector 1 after the start of finish, because as we said earlier, you know, that turn 3 just requires you to have clean air ahead of you, and yeah, it's difficult to sort of stay right behind the guy in front. So I think he might be wide this time, slightly waiting for a good overtake, a good opportunity to overtake on either the start and finish or the other side of the DRS going into, is it turn 12?
Yeah, the second DRS is out of turn 10, coming down to turn 12. Cuts out just before they do the little left kink of 12 before going into the chicane 13 and 14. So Stan Drumkov is not closing down. He's still, you know, it's 1.2 seconds. He can see the two lead drivers ahead of him. Rob Mulder equally, he can see Stan Drumkov ahead of him. Nicky Visser, he's dropping back a bit now, 3.1 seconds, and that's allowing Boy Williamson to catch up with him. Marco Pullen, he's still a little bit off. Yeah, you can see he's coming around 3 there. He's tricky to say the least. So, I mean, they've all pretty much settled down, the ultra softs. Now, the hyper softs, now this is the question, how long can they run on those hyper softs? Surely they can't run more than about 8 laps, I would have thought, on the start.
Yeah, I'd have thought so. They're probably just feeling the effects of the degradation even now, even though you're sort of on lap 5. Yeah, they won't want to run for too long. You know, I'd say 8 to 10 is probably a reasonable window. It's difficult for me because I don't do sort of 100% races, but yeah, from trying to program
I mean, this is
50%,
another thing.
It's
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing to mention about the F1 tonight, guys. They are the only league that I know of that do full 100% races, and it does add such a different complexion to the game. Most people will run 50%, 25% races, but 100% race is pretty much unknown, really. I think, really, isn't it?
Yeah, you're quite right. I don't know anyone else that does it. One thing I've literally just noticed is there's one driver on the track who is the only one who has chosen to underfuel his car. And that
Mark
driver
Stappers.
It's actually not Mark Stappers, it's Marco Pullen.
Oh,
in the
really?
in the Sauber. Yeah, I can't see his actual fuel load, but he's the only one with a sort of yellow fuel symbol indicating that he is underfueled.
Yeah, you see that there if we go in car with him at this moment in time. So Marco's obviously feels that he can run that bit leaner, goes wide out of 4 there. Everyone's pretty much opened up, but Bass is just not closing down. They're still sitting 5/10, and he picked up the 3-second time penalty. Was that Bass?
Yeah, it might be. Let's have a look. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So Basta Breen's picked up a 3-second time penalty, something he did not want. I mean, it is early doors. We are only on lap 6 of 53. Expect the first drivers to be coming in, I would suspect, somewhere between laps 9 and 12.
Oh,
and,
sorry to interrupt you again.
No,
Boy Williamson, he's just made the move on Nicky Visser, coming into sector 3. It looks like he must have done that with DRS.
We missed that. He must have done it on that DRS. Yeah, definitely. So Boy Williamson gets ahead now of Nicky Visser. Nicky is only 6/10 off the back of him, but he's now got his teammates starting to zone in on him as well. He's only 1.5 seconds off. So did Nicky make a mistake there, which allowed Boy to get past? Because I didn't think he was that close on. I don't think he even had DRS. He was about 1.3 seconds behind him. So I think Nicky may have made a mistake, possibly out of turn 10, which allowed Boy Williamson to get past him on that DRS zone, or possibly even before. So Boy Williamson now is charging ahead, and he's starting to pull away convincingly. So that Haas is clearly faster than the Sauber, because he is quite convincingly pulling away from Nicky Visser, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. So I've just seen another sort of attempted overtake. Sander Herman just at the back of the pack here, going for the overtake on Kevin Van Delft.
Kevin Van Delft, indeed, yeah.
Yeah, it looked like I don't know whether he locked up or just completely missed his braking point, but yeah, he sort of went straight on and off into the, didn't quite touch the barrier, but he went off into the sort of runoff area.
Well, Kevin Van Delft new to the game. 3-second time penalty there for Rob Mulder. Again, don't want that. You want to try and avoid those penalties as much as you possibly can. And this isn't a track where you tend to get too many penalties, because it is quite a tight track, and there is a little bit of slack, I think, on those corners. Marco Pullen picking up a 3-second time penalty as well now. Now, that's interesting, because it's these Hypersoft drivers that seem to be having the issues. So that would suggest to me that those tyres are already starting to go off, and they're probably going to be pitting within the next couple of laps, actually. So probably around about lap 9, maybe 10 even.
Yeah, we thought as much that they would sort of wear out around this sort of time. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of the Hypersoft tyre, sorry, any Grand Prix where it is used. Yeah, I tend to go for the harder compounds. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's down to the drivers and their chosen strategies. Obviously, believe it to have its benefits.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, you know, if you feel that you can get that much further ahead, and that's what it's all about ultimately at the end of the day, is the track speed and getting through that traffic. I'm just on board with Damie Hartman, and he looks like he is starting to slowly but surely rein in Mark Stappers in the McLaren there. So Damie Hartman is, I believe, pretty soon going to be challenging, but equally Mark Stappers is zoning in on the back of John Donkel in the Force India there, so keep an eye on that. Rob Mulder as well is closing in on Stan Drunkov. Now they are on the Ultrasofts. We do expect the Ultrasofts to go that bit deeper. I would suspect probably round about the mid-teens, so they're probably round about, oh dearie me, Mark Stappers locking up there on 13. And just a quick shout out for those of you who are not regular watchers. Most of the drivers here, in fact I think pretty much all of them, are using wheels, but Mark Stappers, the only driver in the league that races in cockpit view and with all assists off. So quick little mention that. I know we always mention it every race, but it's certainly worthwhile mentioning, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's not easy in this game, but yeah, big respect for him for doing that.
Look at this, he's looking to make the move here, he's taking a little peek. John Donkel, they come round 2 and into 3. Now this is where he's going to have to be careful. John Donkel going off to right now, coming left. We've lost Drunkov.
Just after turn 3, yeah, just at the exit of turn 3.
So Stan Drunkov on the exit of turn 3, DNFs, goes into the wall there. So the Mercedes driver, Stan Drunkov, is out. What a shame, what a shame. But again, you know, it is early doors, first season racing, but we're on board with Mark Stappers here, and he is really zoning in on John Donkel now. They've just come round 9, they come up to 10. He will have DRS on this Force India as they exit 10 now. There's the DRS. He's got that wing wide open. He's closing down that gap now as they're coming round 12. DRS deactivated. Now what can he do through this chicane? He locked up a little bit earlier. And John is clearly aware that he's behind there, because he is really taking quite a defensive line there, isn't he?
Yeah, and he used completely his entire battery to defend that move, and it worked well because he's still in front. But I don't know how well he's going to be able to defend on the start and finish now if Stappers can get a good exit.
Stappers is certainly nice and close in and tight there. He's got full battery indeed. Can he do anything now?
Should be easy.
He's got him on turn 1. Yeah, he's alongside him now as they're coming towards turn 2. Yeah, Mark Stappers. Oh,
a bit wide there.
dear, goes wide.
He got a warning for that, but
He will. But look at this now. Look at this. Damie Hartman is right alongside John Doncourt, trying to see if he can take the outside line and get past him round 3. But he's all over the gearbox here now of John Doncourt as they're coming round turn 5. Look at this, side by side, round 6, yeah, and he makes the move. Damie Hartman gets ahead of John Doncourt. Good move there from the Haas driver. Nice
Just goes
and
to show
clean.
Goes to show really what also how important good ERS management is, because as soon as John Doncourt's battery run out, he's literally limping around the track to try and recover some battery, and he's lost 2 places as a result.
He has. He's lost to Damie Hartman and to Mark Stappers there. So John dropping down to 10th. Damie Hartman moves up to P9. Mark Stappers moves up to P8. Marco Pullen, he's closed that gap a little bit to his team. Not a horrendous amount. Only, I think, about 2 or 3 tenths. But Boy Williamson now is within 7 tenths of Rob Mulder. I did say Boy was starting to close in on him. And I would suspect that he's going to be looking to make that move, not this lap, but probably lap 12, because he is definitely reining him in there.
Yeah, he is. He's gaining about 2 tenths per lap on the last 2 or 3 laps. So yeah, I think it's literally just a matter of time before he does attempt the overtake.
Yeah, well,
DRS looking
DRS.
both cars.
Yeah, it's not looking too bad at this moment in time. So they're just coming round the little chicane, 8-9 there. He's got DRS, you saw the line there, that was the activation point. He's certainly within 3 tenths there. There's the DRS open. Now can he close down to Rob Mulder? Doesn't seem to be making a lot of effect there, does it? Rob must be really, he must have tuned up his DRS there to stay ahead of him. But
yep,
look at this. Closed down on him there. Yeah. It's closed down on him
really
there.
Really good. Sorry, Eddie, go on you first.
Yeah, no, go on, really good.
Yeah, it was really good ERS management again from Rob Mulder. So he's basically using it all on the DRS straights, and then goes literally down to mode 0. So he's using no DRS whatsoever. On the tight, twisty step 3 and part of step 1.
Look at this now, Boy Williamson alongside him as they come into 2. Oh, he goes wide off the track, but he's got the inside line round 3, and that is so important, isn't it, round here? But Rob Mulder still stay ahead of him. He's going to have the advantage there into that corner. But look at this! Look at this!
Good, really good move there.
This is really good move here from Boy Williamson. But Rob Mulder, he's not letting it go easily, is he? He's fighting it all the way. They're side by side here. But he has to concede there.
Great driving by both drivers there. Good control. And good respect between the 2 as well.
Yeah, definitely. That was great racing there. So Boy Williamson is on a charge. He's got past Rob Mulder now. And Boy, we didn't sort of give a lot of shout out to Boy, but more interestingly, I'm thinking, oh, look at this, they're coming round now. Oh, look at this, Rob Mulder's coming back. Round 13 into 14. And, oh my goodness. And they are wheel to wheel.
Contact.
As they come round turn 15, there is a bit of contact there. But it wasn't, you know, I wouldn't say it was offensive contact. It was just race contact, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, both really weird. Both of those drivers made overtakes on each other on the outside of each other.
Yeah. So not on the area that you would expect them to be taking that overtake, but a real fight going on here between the Haas and the Williams for 3rd place. And you can see in the background there, Marco Pullen and Nicky Visser are closing in. Nicky Visser, Marco Pullen has actually overtaken his teammate. So again, I think Nicky must have made an error because Nicky was, well, he was about 7/10 behind him, but Nicky is running, as we know, a lighter fuel load. But I'm more interested in Marco Pullen, still on those hypersofts, as is Martin Paardenkoper and Mark Stappers. We were expecting them to probably have been in already, but Marco seems to still have some life in those as he's overtaken his teammate.
Yeah, he's obviously been able to just sort of squeeze a bit of extra grip out of them. Damien Hartman, the first driver to come in for the soft tyre. I think it was a bit unfortunate on his entry into the pit lane. It gave him a 5-second stop go for corner cutting, which I can only presume was he must have just cut the exit of the entrance to the pit lane, which I don't recall even being possible.
Yeah, it's not an easy one.
Look at that, but no, I think it's really really unfortunate with that. Very, very strange.
He's definitely unfortunate with getting that 5-second stop go. I mean, that's dropped him down into P12, but he is the first driver on the softs, and those softs, I would suspect, should take him through round about to sort of the 40 mark or thereabouts, which will give him an opportunity to maybe go on to those hypers for the close, or possibly ultras, depending upon what his tyre allocation is and what he's actually got. Nicky Visser here challenging his teammate. Yeah, I think he makes the move. Yeah, he does into turn 2. So Nicky Visser takes the place back from Marco Pullen, round 2. And I think now,
orders, do you think?
I don't know. He was certainly closing in on him. I suspect that there was probably collusion, certainly between the drivers. Well, it was team order. I think Marco Pullen's tyres have actually gone off now. And I think that's the reason why he's said to Nicky, no, just go, because my tyres are now shot. And you can see he's really dropping back quite a lot there. He's already down to almost a second behind his teammate.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't think why. Oh, no, I know why. Because his tyres, Marco Pullen's still running on the hypers, isn't he?
Oh, the hypers, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think the hypers have just, I think they've just dropped, because when they drop, they drop big time, don't they? That's the thing.
Yeah, no, that's quite right. Yeah, that'll be it.
So I suspect that we will see Marco Pullen coming in. Miguel Tourney picking up a 3-second time penalty. I think Marco Pullen will definitely be coming in now at the end of this lap 15 and going on to a fresh set of tyres. And likely, that if he does, he's going to be going onto those softs. I think most of the drivers that are going to be coming in are going to be going onto those softs. He doesn't come in and he still stays out. Right, okay, so he is staying out. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I think the hypers are definitely going deeper than we expected. I mean, you can see Mark Stappers, Martin Paardenkoper and Marco all on 14 laps on those hypers. I can't see them going too much deeper on those. And Zander Hermans does the fastest provisional time with a 1:36.8. So Zander Hermans, he may be at the back, but he is charging through there. He's just unlapped himself there. I believe that was with John Donkel. But he just put in the fastest time. Well, he's on a fresh set of hypers, though, to be fair. So 3 laps old, so probably not necessarily that unsurprising.
Yeah, I mean, he's racing for pride. I mean, he's the minute behind the car in front of him.
Yeah,
so, he's just going for. Yeah, he's just going for it now, isn't he? Perfect. I mean, he's still in it.
He is, and you can see, I'm pretty sure that he is one of the few drivers that is actually using the controller, and you can actually see that on the movements. I'm pretty sure that he is. So Kevin Van Delft there, he's currently in P13 in the McLaren. He's 13 seconds down the road from Damien Hartman. Damien Hartman on that fresh set of softs, he's out P12. He's got a long way to go, but we are on lap 16. So we're approaching round about a third of the way through. Miguel Tourney in the Force India, he's down in P11. Guido Airshine in the Renault, he's down in 10. Then we got John Donkel, he's in 9. Mark Stappers for McLaren, he's 8. Martin Cooper for Red Bull is 7. And Martin's been having a pretty good season so far in the Red Bull. He hasn't done too bad at all. He's 6th in the Drivers' Championship, so he's having a pretty good season. And Rob Mulder picks up a 3-second time penalty. Marco Pullen is Sauber. No, it's not. I think it's his second. 6. Nicky Visser, he's in 5th. Rob Mulder, who we just saw pick up the 3-second time penalty there, he's in 4th. Boy Williamson, he's strong 3rd there at this moment in time, although he does have Rob Mulder still on the back of him, so still a fight going on between this this Williams and this Hassett. Oh, look at this as they're coming down, and Boy Williamson, Rob Mulder's really challenging him there, isn't he? He is really trying to get past him every which way he can.
Yeah,
Boy Williamson's having to defend very strongly.
It's been exciting for us to watch. It's probably, I wouldn't quite say exciting for the drivers, but maybe a bit nerve-wracking for the drivers, putting each other under pressure.
Now, you called it rude wind out before we started, and we more or less ignored Bass because we thought, well, you know, he's going to go, let's go a little bit. But rude wind out, let's not forget here, he's on the same tyres as Bass de Breen, and he's already almost 9 seconds ahead of him.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be down to sort of tyre maintenance, I'd imagine. I know de Breen was... Window was leading the opening laps as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, because he managed to get ahead of Breen straight off the start. He had a fantastic start. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know Bas de Breen can, you know, is capable of super fast lap times, but doing it on, you know, with race fuel, it's difficult. It's difficult. It's a completely different skill set required to do that.
It is, and I mean, strong drivers, as we know, the Ferrari team, but the thing here, I'm looking at this, 16 laps, 8 seconds, that says to me that he's getting at least half a second faster on every single lap than Bas de Breen, and that isn't what I would have expected.
Yeah, well, on that last lap, he was actually 1.3 faster than him. I'm sorry to completely change the subject. Marco Pullen just actually made the move on John Donkel for P8.
He has.
Yeah, it looked quite. Not taking anything away from it, but it looked like quite an easy move. That's because Donkel's tyres are probably at the end of their life. The Ultrasofts done 16 laps on them.
Yeah, and again, the Hypersoft guys are still on there. I think those Ultrasofts can actually go deeper. Again, it depends obviously on the individual, but we've got Rob Mulder. He's pitted now on 17 lap Ultrasofts. I think that's more to do. And Bas de Breen has pitted as well. And Bas has gone on to the softs. So Rob Mulder has clearly responded to that, but he's gone on to the Hypersofts.
No, he's on the Ultras.
No,
yeah,
he's on
two-stop.
Yeah, he is.
So Rob Mulder's
gone on to the Ultrasofts. Now that is interesting. I mean, he's got a bit of traffic now between himself and de Breen, Mark Stappers and Martin Cooper. They are both on the Hypersoft, so they should be coming in pretty damn soon, because I mean they've done 17 laps on those tyres. I was expecting them to maybe go to around about 10 laps, maybe 12 laps, but 17 laps I was not expecting that.
No, absolutely not. I'm slightly concerned for Ruud Windahl, only because Bas de Breen is he's obviously going for the undercut on him. I think he can make up the time by pitting, you know, a lap or two earlier than perhaps Windahl is planning to pit. If Bas de Breen can put in a really fast out lap, because Ruud Windahl's just come into the pit, obviously reacting to the Breen's pit stop.
Windahl is now in.
Yeah, I mean the gap before the pits, before they pitted was about 6 seconds or so, something like that.
It was around about that. Yeah. No, sorry, it was 8 seconds. Because we were commenting on it, it was about half a second. So it's around about nearly 9 seconds.
Yeah, so this is going to be really significant now if de Breen can actually get out ahead. De Breen
is now coming round the final set of corners into the start-finish straight. Windahl is out on track, so yeah, he's done it. He's done it.
Yep.
He's got out ahead of him, but he is on the Ultrasofts as well, so he's going to have to pit again. And I think Bastabreen is going to be looking to take these laps right up to the knockings of this race and then maybe go on to those hypers. Marco Pullen setting the provisional fastest time, 1:36.5. And he's on a fresh set of ultra softs. So those guys on the hyper softs have started to come in. We saw Marco Pullen come in. Mark Stappers is still out on those hyper softs. Boy Williamson has come in and gone on to a set of hyper softs again. Or was he on ultra softs?
Yeah.
I think he may have been on ultra. No, he was on ultra softs.
Yeah, he's on ultras, yeah.
He was on ultras, he's now gone on to the hypers. But he is
Just,
really all over the back of Mark Stappers. Yes, Adrian?
He's gonna, yeah, I was just gonna say, he's gonna make the move on Stappers there. Or
he
he's
has.
on wide in doing so. Yeah, it looks like he's got away with that, probably with a warning.
More than likely.
Yeah, just sort of while we've been commentating, I've actually been looking at the real-life race strategies of Russia 2018, and yeah, the winning strat was actually ultra softs till lap 15, and then some softs to the end.
Right, okay, so the softs can potentially go to the end, which figures, because, I mean, obviously, he's only on 1 lap old, we've got 33 laps to go. We've seen that these ultra softs can certainly go deep. Hyper softs have gone a lot deeper on a number of drivers than we expected. Ultras, we've seen the guys pitting in round about the high teens. I think 17 laps was the lowest that I've seen so far. We've got Nicky Visser, he's on 19 lap old ultra softs. He's currently in 2nd place. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think Bass is actually done a nice call there on going on to those softs, because it's going to be a challenge for Ruud Window to stay ahead of him now, I think.
Yeah, he's going to have to really sort of create a gap to be able to pull off this 2-stop. Yeah, I don't know, I kind of feel that perhaps Window shot himself in the foot slightly. I mean, I hope he can do it, I really do, but it's not the strategy I would have employed.
No, but then again, I mean, he did manage to pull out some convincing lead over the Breen on the opening laps up to lap 16. As we said, he was almost 9 seconds ahead of him. So is he counting on that? He's got that, you know, faster track speed, which will allow him to take advantage of those ultra softs and still get out ahead of the Breen when he needs to come in and pit.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I'm just looking at the difference in their times. I mean, Window is gaining around. It's difficult to judge at the moment. I think it was about a second a lap. No, it's 7 tenths on that lap. As Ruud Window actually goes at the fastest lap of the race. Yeah, I'm just trying to do the math and try and work out how far ahead he might be by the time he needs to come in.
Rob Mulder now is all over the gearbox of Mark Stappers. He's going to be challenging him into turn 1. He's got the DRS out of 1, coming down to 2 now. They're side by side, but don't discount Stappers. Yeah, he makes the move easily before they get to turn 2 there. Nicely done using that DRS. So Rob Mulder gets ahead of Mark Stappers. Important for him to get him out of the way quickly. He's got Boy Williamson 6 seconds down the road to him, and he's on a fresh set of Hypersoft, so that's going to be a bit of a challenge to try and catch up with him, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be difficult, but only for a few laps, I would say. Although he's on the ultras, he's not on the softs, so yeah, I mean, he'll want to make the overtake as soon as he can. He won't want Williamson to get too far ahead of him.
Now, on the opening laps, I mean, there doesn't seem to be a hell of a lot actually between those hypers and those ultras for duration, does there? I mean, there's probably maybe 2 or 3 laps in it, but that's about it, which is quite close, really.
Yeah, that's surprising. The gap is normally, the Golf Story is a bit bigger than that with Hypersofts to Ultras, but you know, apparently not in this case. It might just be to do with the track. You know,
and it's the tyre management as well,
corners.
because Mark Stappers, because he doesn't run with all that, he's on 20 laps on those hypers, so he's obviously he was involved in that opening incident, as we know. He had to come in, but he's certainly
Sorry,
made him
Visser's
last. He's
just
starting
come
his 21st lap. So Visser is now in from 6th place. Pullen gets out ahead of him. So what is Nicky? He was on the Ultras. He's gone on to the Ultras. So Nicky's going on to the Ultras.
No, I think that's
sorry,
the
Hypers. It is the
he's
Hypers. Sorry, yeah, he's going on to the Hypers. So Nicky Visser's gone on to the Hypers. Interesting. There's a real mix of strat here. So a lot of the drivers, they've gone Hypersoft, Ultrasoft, or Ultrasoft, Hypersoft. The only one that's really pretty much broken the mould is Basta Breen, Martin Pardercooper, and Damie Hartman. Damie Hartman, obviously the first man that came in and went on to those softs, although unfortunately he picked up a 5-second stop go in the process.
Yeah, I feel bad for him. You know, in his mind, he's done everything right, and the game just decides, no, have a 5-second stop go.
Yeah, no, definitely not what he was looking for. I can be pretty certain of that. So at this moment in time, there we have it. This is F1 tonight. We are here at Sochi for the Russian Grand Prix. We're in the final quarter of this championship now. And Basta Breen had the pole, but lost it straight off the start to Ruud Window. And Ruud Window has maintained that first place. Now, the interesting thing here is that the Ruud Window is on a different strategy to Basta Breen. But do you know what? I think it's going to work out for him, because if you look at this, Basta Breen is already 14 seconds down the road behind him. Ruud's only on 4-lap old Ultras. We know that he can go deep into the teens and probably even into, you know, the early 20s. He's definitely got that gap, hasn't he? He can still, unless something drastic happens, he will have the opportunity to pit and still get out of Basta Breen.
Yeah, no, quite right. I mean, he gained 1.8 seconds on that last lap. And again, sorry to change the subject, but while you were talking earlier, Marco Stappen, he actually spun just coming into selector street just after the DRS. This was just behind him. Managed to make the overtake, but I think it was like it was an illegal overtake. I think he did it slightly off track and had to concede the place again. He has since made the overtake legally this time.
Yeah, I see that.
As Mark Stappen is really struggling to just maintain grip. I mean, he's done 22 laps on his hypers.
Yeah, I think they've dropped off now. I mean, they should have dropped off quite a few laps ago, but Mark Stappen does have great time management as he locks into 13 there. But he does have good time management, that's for sure. But I'm pretty certain that he's going to have to be coming in now and going on to a set. And I would suspect that he is actually going to go on to a set of softs, you know.
Yeah, I'd hope so. I don't want to see him.
He's staying out.
He's
staying out.
He's out.
He's staying out. He hasn't come in, so he still feels as if he's got enough in there. He's obviously sticking to his strategy there. He's got a strategy in mind, and he's not drifting from it. Nicky Visser is 6th. Marco Pullen is 5th. Rob Mulder, he's in 4th. Boy Williamson is in 3rd. And it's been a good show from Boy, actually. Let's have a quick look at the position changes here. Yeah, I mean, look at that. 9 places for Boy. Yeah. So he's come from 12th to 3rd. 9 places. Yeah, I'm sure he's happy with that, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be really pleased to be sort of up into the top 3. Whether he will be at the end of this race remains to be seen. I know Rob Mulder was looking quick, although Mulder does actually have 9 seconds penalty, so it's a difficult one to call for that P3.
It's going to be interesting. I think we're not probably going to be able to see how that pans out for about another sort of 10 or 15 laps before I think we can start to accurately look at that one. Marco Pullen, sorry, he's moved up 8 places, so from 13 to 5. And Adrian, you something to say there, sir?
Yeah, sorry, I've just noticed that Ershine is actually ahead of Donkod. Not sure when that happened. There must have been about a lap ago. He was definitely behind him.
He was definitely behind him, and he has moved up, and they are on equal tyres, so I think John may have made an error on the track there, probably around sector 1, and I think it may have been round turn 3 actually, and it's given Guido the opportunity to get ahead of him, but Guido's coming into the pits anyway. Yeah, so Guido's into the pits anyway. John Donkel remains out, so he's on older set of Ultrasofts, but Guido in from 22 laps from those Ultrasofts. And I'm looking at this. Do you know what? It's because Ruud Windau. What did he start on? Did he start on the Hypers?
I think he started on Hypers, didn't he?
I don't know. If you wouldn't mind having a quick check of that age.
Yeah,
he started on the Ultras.
He started on the Ultras. He's got another set of Ultras.
I think. Do you know what?
I think the Hypers at the end.
He is. Yeah, he's going ultra hyper. Because that's what I was just trying to sort of figure out here, is what was his strategy. And boy, Williamson's got ahead of Basta Breen.
He has.
Oh, sorry for those that are watching, we missed that, but we do apologise, but wasn't what I was expecting there. That's a bit unusual. Unless Bass made some sort of error which gave Boy the opportunity, but he's definitely ahead of him on track, and Bass is...
Yeah, so I was looking at the lap times. Yeah, Bass's lap time on that last one is only 2 seconds off of Ruud Windau, and the second off of his own best on those soft tyres. So I can only imagine he did make a minor mistake.
Yeah, he's definitely made an error, because Boy Williamson was behind him by about a good, I think, 1.6 seconds. So that is undoubtedly what's happened. He's made some error on track, and that's allowed Boy Williamson to get past him. Now, Boy does have the advantage, obviously, because he is on those Hypers, and Bass is on the softs. But is Bass going to worry too much about that? I think he's really more concerned with that gap to Ruud Windau, really, isn't he?
Yeah, that's what he's trying to sort of mitigate as much as he can. Although the gap is really opening up now for Ruud Windau. I'm just trying to see
19 and a half seconds.
Yeah, 19 and a half. It's only going to be a few more laps before he's sort of, a full pit stop ahead. So I think this is at the moment then the advantage Windau.
It certainly looks that way.
I kind of downplayed his strategy choice earlier on. We've actually got 3 different strategies in the top 3 at the moment.
Yeah, we have.
And I really thought it was advantage the Breen with the strategy number 1. I call that. But no, fair play to Windau.
Well, while we've been talking, Nicky Visser makes the DRS on his teammate coming down to turn 12, gets ahead of him, and is now back up into 5th position. And interesting there, because they're running on quite different strategies here, the Sauber guys.
Yeah, and you often find doing Synergy anyway, me and the Big Cookie, my Toro Rosso teammate, we often employ different strategies, deliberately, to try and, kind of guarantee that one of us will, at least score good points, and
cover the bases.
It does work like that. Yeah, that's right, yeah. Doesn't always work like that, but that's the idea.
Well, yeah.
Oh, look, and someone's actually
look
found
at this,
the pit
Damie.
It's Mark Shepard.
He has.
I was wondering if he knew where it was.
And he's stuck there. That's a bit weird. His pit crew don't seem to be out. Or is that just a glitch?
I think that's just a glitch, yeah. They changed his
tyres.
Yeah,
he does. Yeah, he's there. Yeah.
I don't know why it does that.
Well, I just saw him suddenly stop before his pit, and that's it. So Mark Stappers has now gone on to the Ultrasofts. Well, he's made those Hypersofts last 27 laps, I think it was.
That's ridiculous.
He's now gone on to the Ultras. He's got to be on the Ultras to the end now, really, hasn't he?
Well, any sane person would probably have another stop, but I don't think he's planning on stopping again.
No, I don't think he is. I think Mark Stappers is on those Ultras to the end of this race, and it's going to be interesting to see where that places him, because he's currently in P12, and by my quick mental arithmetic, he could potentially move up about a good 4 or 5 places before the end of this race, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely well, it's possible. He might make it. You know, he might get a few points out of this.
Yeah, I think he will. I would expect him to certainly be in that top 10, and probably round about sort of 7 or 8. So let's keep an eye on that one. It's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. And Nicky Visser, I mean, he's already convincingly pulled almost like, what, 3 seconds now in the past couple of laps on his teammate after making that move. So he's clearly got the better speed on those hypers. Rob Mulder, he's sitting in 4th. He's on those ultras, and we would expect him to probably be coming in round about lap 40, early 40s. Baston Green, he went on to those softs quite early, and I would suspect, is he looking, do you think those softs can take him to the end of this race?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I mean, you know, they do in real life.
I mean, it's 33 laps. They should do. I mean, that's what we're working on the premise of, that he is now to the end of this race on those softs. But he's now got Ruud Window 23.3 seconds down the road for him. So he's got that pit window now. He's got Boy Williamson ahead of him, who's on those hypersofts, and we know that he can probably go at least another 10 laps on those hypersofts. Did Bass shoot himself in the foot by coming in so early and going on to those softs?
Possibly. I mean, if the Green does have to stop again, he won't win this race. He's going to have to make those tyres last. Which, you know, it can be done, but it's obviously, it's really strange. I would have thought that would have been the go-to strategy, the one that the Green has chosen. But it looks like the 2-stop might be better.
Well, Martin Pardacooper, as we're watching now, he's closing in on the back of John Donkel, as is Davey Hartman on the back of him. So this is looking interesting here for P7 and P8, and I would expect some moves to be made very, very soon. And Kevin Van Delft, McLaren picking up the 3-second time penalty there. So this is going to be interesting, this play here, isn't it, for this 7th and 8th place?
Yeah, it's a nice little battle at the moment here. The tyres, like, well, John Donkel, that's on 28 lap old Ultra, so you could say he's backing up this little train.
Yeah,
I think
Martin Pardacooper, he's got the DRS, but he can't seem to get ahead, and he's got to try and make that move before they get into turn 12, before they go into the little chicane under the bridge there, 13 and 14. And it just doesn't seem... Oh, look at that! And Donkel goes wide.
He's got to come in shortly.
There.
He might want to do another lap like that.
He is doing another lap. He's staying out.
He's stopping.
He's staying out, and Martin Pardacooper is all over the back end, but equally Davey Hartman is all over the back of that gearbox of that Red Bull, and he almost goes off there. Almost goes off trying to avoid going into the back of him as they were coming onto that start-finish straight. So here they are again. They got DRS, and is Martin going to try and make his score? He's trying to make the move before he can get to. Doesn't go. It goes wheel to wheel, but now this has allowed Davey Hartman to get in ahead of him.
Yeah, that's right. It was a really late move actually from Pardacooper. I think he probably should have just, bide his time perhaps.
Rolled in behind Donkel, round 2 really, rather than trying to challenge. On a 5-second stop go for corner cutting for Zander Hermans. Is that the same issue that we saw with Davey Hartman into the pits?
No, because he didn't pin.
No, he didn't, did he? So what happened there?
That's strange though. Strange with 5-second stop go for corner cutting though.
Unless
he must have gone straight into turn 1.
He must have done. And Martin Pardacooper is dropping back now, and I suspect that he's probably depleted his ERS in trying to get past Donkel, and now he's having to harvest it, which has meant that he's having to drop back a bit behind these two now.
Yeah, Hartman looks like he's going to going to make the move on the start and finish if Donkel still decides to stay out.
And Donkel can't come into the pits even if he wanted to now, because Hartmann was just cut off his access there. So I think
completely legal.
Yeah, it was completely legal, absolutely. But I think that John Donkel did actually want to come in at that point, but he just didn't have the opportunity because Hartmann was blocking that pit entrance. I mean, it is completely legal. Wasn't nothing illegal about it. But I'm sure we'll find out in due course. And Hartmann not doing too well round 2 there as they're winding up round 3. Martin Paardenkoper is still in there, but he's dropped back 8 tenths now behind Donkel. Donkel's 6 tenths to Hartmann. I'm sure Donkel will be coming in. But interesting that he can go 30 laps on those ultra softs, and that bodes rather well for Mulder and also for Window, doesn't it?
Yeah, quite right. Yeah, as I said earlier, I think it's his advantage Window probably to the end now.
We still have this fight going on at the moment for 7th and 8th place. John Donkel is still out there, although I'm pretty sure that he's going to be looking to come in. Obviously, if he comes in at the end of this lap, we know that he may well have wanted to come in earlier. If he doesn't, then that's going to be interesting as well, really.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going through his mind.
I'm not too sure either, and I don't think he's coming in. He's staying out.
No,
yeah,
he's got no intention.
He's got no intention of coming in at all. So again, now Donkel, he's on 30 lap old ultra softs. He is on lap 32. Is he looking to try and stay out there and come back in and go out on those ultras?
I actually think he might be trying to get within hypersoft territory.
Right, okay, that's interesting. Well, again, we have seen the hypersofts go 27 laps from the start of this race with Mark Strappers, so it's every possibility. There's 20 laps remaining now. I actually think you're right there, Adrian. I think he is looking to try and push those so he can get himself into the hypersoft window. But he's got to be careful because he's got Paardenkoper all over the back of him. But now Ershine's come into the mix as well, and Ershine is only 1/10 off the back of Paardenkoper.
Wow. Yeah, he's obviously taking advantage of the little battle that's been going on ahead of him. You know, we know that Donkel's tyres are so old, he is actually holding up the drivers behind him, which is giving Ershine a chance to...
I think he's made the move. Yeah, he's trying to make the move. Oh, just citing a good respect though. Good driving from both the Force India and the Red Bull driver of Paardenkoper and Donkel there. But Ershine is now all over that gearbox of that Force India. Coming into the final turn now. Got to watch that.
Need to be patient. Need to be patient.
Yeah. Bide your time, Guido. Bide your time. So he's going to have the DRS out of turn 1, coming down to turn 2. There we go.
Or he could do it turn 3 because he knows the car in front's got no grip.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But then Donkel always tends to take the inside on turn 3. He goes really deep onto the inside there. You can see there he is. Yeah, and Ershine doesn't really have the opportunity to go wide round him. He's got too much speed. So come round 4 now. But these guys are line abreast here. But fair play to Donkel. I mean, he's staying with Paardenkoper, isn't he?
He is, yeah. I mean, but he has seen a few cars go past him, and to me, that that should be ringing alarm bells. And if it was me, I'd probably just bite the bullet and come in for the ultras.
And Ershine very, very wide out of that corner there. But he's closing in. He's got the DRS. He needs to make that move now before they get down to turn 12. Donkel is defending.
Donkel's got no battery.
Actually, he's got nothing left in him. Yeah, and Ershine goes so deep there.
Got the brake.
Loses his braking point. Nearly goes into the wall. God, that was
Wow.
scary. That was scary. He just had no brakes, did he? He just suddenly, whoa, straight on.
Very thankful for the big runoff areas here. So,
Definitely.
Any other track, Azerbaijan or whatever, could have been fatal there.
Well, I think we're coming back to that classification, aren't we, of street track?
Yeah.
It's just, I can't, there are certain respects, certain areas here that I say, okay, yeah, I can understand that. They are somewhat, let's say, Singapore-esque or even Abu Dhabi, but I don't know, I really sit on the side of this shouldn't be classified as street track, personally.
No, this is like a bit like France, because even though France is closed in, there's so much open space within that track, and I think you've got a similar kind of thing here. Not a straight track to me. This is the purpose-built race circuit.
Yeah, it is. It's a circuit race, definitely, rather than a street race. So John Donkel has obviously the Angels on his side. Because they clearly were holding that brake pedal on the Renault firmly up, but I think Ershine's going to make the move on him now. Yeah, let's hold your breath now. Yeah, Donkel goes wide. Lets Ershine, I think, pretty much through there, really. Yeah, he has. So Ershine takes that 9th place from Donkel. Parder Cooper is now down the road, and not too far down the road. But Damie Hartman, he's got a long way to go. He is on those softs. He will, I'm pretty sure, be going to the end of this race, although he was the first man in. But I don't really think he had much choice. I mean, it was either Hypersoft, charge, or go on to the Ultrasofts and play the long game there, wasn't it, for him?
Yeah, that's right. I think he's made the best of it, I think. He's done the right thing.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that one. Marco Pullen in the Sauber. He's on 18-lap old Ultrasofts. He's currently P6. His teammate Nicky Visser is on 13-lap Hypers, just 8 seconds down the road to him in P5. Rob Mulder, he's firmly in that P4, although Nicky Visser is slowly but surely closing in that gap, and more rapidly now, I think, actually. So Visser is likely to be charging and making a challenge to Mulder, I think, probably in the next couple of laps. And keep an eye on that one. Basterbreen, he's in P3. He's 6 seconds down the road from Boy Williamson. Damie Hartman picking up a 3-second time penalty there. Boy, he's on those Hypersofts, 17 laps old. Well, we know that he could probably go, if he takes it easy, another 10 laps. But could he go to the end? Could he go 17 laps and go 34 laps on those Hypers? I don't think so.
No, no, he wouldn't want to go that far on this. No,
I don't think so. And you know, starting to see a bit of wear on those already. He's going to have to come in. But Ruud Window, well, what an absolutely sublime race from this Williams driver. I've got to say, Adrian, you're getting good at this game. You are getting good at this game, and I'm getting a little bit worried now, because you know, there he is, Ruud Window, 18-lap old Ultrasofts. He's got 33 seconds, almost. Yeah, he's 33 seconds on Basterbreen. He's clearly got that pit window to come in, change tyres and get back out of Debreen, and still probably be about a good 5 or 6 seconds ahead of him on track as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's actually got enough time to come in, change tyres, have a cup of tea, make his dinner, and then get back out.
But, you know, great show from this Williams driver. And Nicky Visser now, as I said, he's starting to close in. He's only 7/10 now off the bat. Well, Boy Williamson's come into the pits anyway, so that's nice and easy for him. But he now needs to get down to Rob Mulder. And Rob Mulder, there he is. He's within the second of him now. So they're coming round turn 3. He needs to obviously stay with him through this end of Sector 1 and through Sector 2. Can he do it, do you think, on that DRS zone after turn 10? I mean, he's within spinning distance at this moment in time, isn't he?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think Nicky Visser's going to be on for the podium, regardless of what happens, because Mulder is going to have to come in, as is Visser. But Mulder's got 9 seconds of penalties as well, so I think he's on for a definite podium, which is where we kind of expect to see Visser.
Yeah, to be fair, that is indeed where we would expect to see him. He's got the DRS, he can't quite close down Mulder before getting into turn 12, but he's certainly going to get up close and personal on the final few turns of this final sector now, and he will have then the DRS on that start-finish straight. Advantage should be Visser. He's obviously on the slightly fresher Hypersofts, but they're probably Hypersoft, Ultrasoft 15, 19, they're probably not a million miles apart, are they, at this moment in time, tyre-wise?
No, yeah, you're quite right. I mean, we saw earlier on the grip levels seem to be roughly the same.
Yeah.
And there's not much difference in the length of time that you can, or the number of laps that you can do on either tyre.
Well, he hasn't quite managed to close down. He's taken a couple of tenths out of him as they're winding up round turn 3 and into 4 now. So there's definitely a challenge on the game here. But I think Visser's, well, as we said, Mulder's got 9 seconds worth of penalties. So I think Visser, if he was a bit wise, just needs to stay behind him and look for an opportunity, but make sure he keeps him within that second. Yeah,
that's right. I mean, to be fair, he doesn't even need to overtake him. Or the rear window actually gets his 3 seconds. That's his first penalty.
That's his first. Yeah, I think it is his first penalty.
Not
but
too much. Yeah, not too
well,
much
not a great deal to worry. I mean, Breen now has obviously moved up into 2nd place. And because Boy Williamson came in and he's gone on to those Hypersofts. So Boy Williamson is looking to take those Hypersofts 15 laps to the end of this race. Breen is 34 seconds, as we said, behind Window. He has picked up a 3-second time penalty, but even so, he's probably going to be able to come in and actually still be 10 seconds ahead of the Breen. Visser is now into the pits. He's coming off those Hypers. What's he going to go on to? He's going to have to go on to the Ultras. I don't think he can go on to another set of Hypers, can he?
No, I don't think he can, because he's only used Hypers, isn't he?
I think he has. Let's have a quick... damn, the glitch plays again, so I don't see what time he goes on to. Well, we'll see. And he is going on to Hypers. No, yeah, he is going on to the Hypers. So Visser is going on to the Hypers. Pullen is ahead of him, but he's on 22 lap old Ultras.
Yeah, Visser started on the Ultras.
So he started on the Ultras. He's got Ultra Hyper.
It's a very aggressive strategy. But
it is a very aggressive strategy, definitely. And Rob Mulder, he's in 3rd place. At this moment in time, he's on those Ultra, and he just picked up another 3-second time penalty. So that's 12 seconds. Now the question is, Boy Williamson, he's just gone onto a fresh set of Hypers. They should take him to the end. As I said, he's looking to do 15 laps. Yeah. That is achievable on those Hypers. That means really that Visser has got a fight on his hands if he can get up close to him, because he's actually 22 seconds down the road. They've got Pullen in between. I think Visser will have to settle for 4th place.
Yeah, no, fair play. I didn't actually see where Boy Williamson actually was. Although Williamson has 3 penalties.
So he's got 9 seconds as well.
Visser, I don't believe. He has 3 seconds.
He has, yeah. He has So this is going to be interesting. I think we're going to see a fight at the close of this race here between Visser and Williamson for that 3rd place podium finish. So that is going to prove very, very interesting indeed. But Mulder is now out of the pits, and he will come out ahead of Visser critically.
Ooh.
And he is on a fresh set of hypers. So this really now has put, well, it's put a bit of a mocker now on Visser's podium finish, hasn't it?
He's going to have to really fight for it now. Yeah,
he is. He has
needed,
to make.
Sorry, he needed to get past him while he was in the pit. He needed to make sure he put in a good lap. Obviously, it wasn't quite good enough to make the move on Mulder.
Now it's down to the track, isn't it? He's got to do this on track, and he's got to do it pretty quick as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, look at this, and Ruud Window setting the provisional fastest time of a 1:33.896, and just to remind you, 1:33.896 is actually, I'm just going to have a quick look on here, is, wow, almost 2 seconds faster than the real-time lap record for this track.
Wow.
So
phenomenal.
that gives you a good indication there. So fantastic race there, but now Visser, he really does have a fight in his hand. He has to get past Rob Mulder, and he's got to do it, I would say, within the next 5 laps, absolute max. The quicker the better, really.
Yeah, because the longer he stays behind, the hotter his tyres get, and the faster they wear out.
So this is critical now for Visser if he wants to get a shout in on that podium finish for 3rd place. Rob Mulder is ahead of him. Now he does obviously, as we know, have time penalties, but even so, he needs to get past him because it could get rather nasty. He's got Boy Williamson ahead of him as well. He's on a fresh set of hypers, clearly going to the end. De Bruyne, he's on those softs, he's going to the end. Ruud Window, he's gone on to those hypers, and he's definitely looking to go to the end. He's got 16 seconds on De Bruyne. There's a bigger gap than I would have expected. And Breen, look at it, he's pushing. He's just picked up a 3-second time penalty, not the thing you normally see from him, so he must be pushing.
Trying so hard. Something equally sort of unusual has happened as well. John Donker was coming to pit. Can you believe that?
Yeah, he has, and he's gone on to a set of hypers.
He did 40 laps on those ultra stops. I was wondering if he was going to try and take him to the end.
Well, he has gone on to that hyper strategy as we thought, but I don't know. I think he's left it a bit. I think he could have been. I think he would have been better off coming in earlier and maybe going on to the ultras. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what he was sort of trying to gain from doing quite so many laps on the ultra softs. Yeah, I don't know. People have ideas, they don't know.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, every driver is different, and you know they feel that the strategies work for them. And sometimes when you plan a strategy, you may look to do some competitive racing to try the strategy out. And it may work on a race, but every race is different, and it so much depends on what's happening on the track ahead of you and the other 19, or in this case, 17 drivers that are on that track as well.
Yeah.
So
quite a good pit as well for his last stint.
And Visser is closing in on the back of Mulder now, more so, and I think he just doesn't. He sort of closes in the gap, and then suddenly it just opens up, doesn't it? I mean, look at this. So they're coming down round 11. That gap seems huge. It's 1.2, but it was down to almost 0.6.
Yeah, that's the effect of the dirty air, unfortunately. You just lose all downforce. Yeah, Rush is quite an unusual track in that it's got, well, not unusual, but it's got, it's got a long straights with these 90-degree corners sort of everywhere. And you need, you just need the downforce to be able to maintain the speed through the corner.
Yeah,
and you can't do that if you've got the car right in front of you.
That's it. I mean, I was making comment on the 45-degree turns, actually 90-degree turns, as you quite rightly said. And there's a hell of a lot of them on this track. I mean, I'm just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of the 18 turns are 90-degree turns. So the vast majority, and that really does take it out, because you've got, it's preparation, isn't it, when you're going into those corners, because you've got to line up that car to make sure you're hitting that apex to get the maximum potential sort of line to build the speed on your exit. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And yeah, you just need the downforce to plant the car on the track to allow you to take it as fast as possible.
An interesting, going a little bit offline here, but I was reading on Twitter on a tweet that people were talking about, should they change the downforce on the F1 cars and reduce the downforce and leave it to the grunt of the engine. And there is quite a movement, I think, starting to build, looking to do that and get the cars, reduce that downforce on them, aren't there?
Yeah, I think it's not so much a reduction in the downforce itself, it's a reduction in the effect of the lack of downforce, if that makes sense. So the effect of the essentially, which will, if they do manage to do that, A, it will be quite an accomplishment, and B, it will allow for sort of much closer racing, but sort of like high-speed go-karts, you know, like that type of thing.
It would certainly make it interesting, but then again, you'd have to start questioning DRS, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, apparently the effect of DRS is going to be sort of double what it is now.
Really?
So,
oh no, see, I wouldn't have expected that. That surprises me, but yeah, I guess so, if you're looking at it from that point of view. But yeah, I wouldn't, I've got to be honest, I wouldn't have expected that.
Yeah, it's all to try and improve the spectacle of the Formula 1 Grand Prix.
Well, I think anything that can improve on that and give the cars equal advantage, if you like, and that's back marker there. Zander Hermann's moving aside to let Mulder and Visser through, and these guys still battling it out. But I mean, you know, Mulder, I think he's got, how many time penalties has he got now? Is it 12 seconds?
Yeah, 12 seconds. Visser's got 6, I think.
So he still needs to get ahead of him, because that's that boy Williamson as well. He's up there, but I think Boy's got a few penalties as well. And Basta Breen, I mean, he's looking solid, definitely for that second place. Window is looking very, very strong, definitely for the win here. I mean, we're on lap 45 of 53. This is F1 tonight, and you are here with us at Sochi. And we're in the final quarter now of this season. This race being moved from early in, what was it? I think it used to be round about race 4 or 5, didn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Race before, I think. We moved it to I think it's about 4 or 5 races from the end of the season now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're on race 16, so it is 5 races from the end.
Australia used to be right at the end of a season as well, didn't it? They moved
I can't remember that, I've got to be honest. I can't remember that.
Mid-90s, I think that was moved to Australia to the beginning.
And Visser is challenging now. Yes, he's making the move on Mulder. Gets ahead of him before they get down to 12. That was the critical place now. So Visser has got ahead of him. He has done it, I think, within that 5-lap window, but he needs to get pedal to the metal now. He's got Boy Williamson 24 seconds down the road. He's got 6 seconds himself, so he's got 30 seconds to Williamson. Williamson, I think, has picked up penalties as well, but although I cannot recall how many he's picked up. I don't know if you have the opportunity to check that, Adrian. And then you can get an idea. So Visser is certainly going to be looking to try and do all he can in the closing stages. 7 laps remaining of this race to try and see if he can get onto that podium. But the critical thing is what can he take out of Williamson? It's 7 laps. It's 30 seconds. He's not going to close it down. Well,
no,
there's no way, basically.
So. He's Williamson's got 9 seconds apparently, but even so,
that's 21
to the
seconds.
15-second gap.
21 seconds.
And it's just, yeah.
So 21 seconds is the gap that Visser needs to make up if he's going to go for that podium.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
So ultimately, really, unless Boy makes a really horrendous mistake and DNFs, I think Visser is going to have to satisfy himself with 4th place, and that's pretty much going to be it. I mean, Rob Mulder, though, obviously still challenging him. He's staying in there, if you like, but Boy Williamson now is all over the back of Basta Breen. Now this is going to be interesting. Yeah, he's looking to make the move. He's done it on the DRS. Coming down to turn 12, but is the Breen going to come back? He's not going to let it lie. Look at this. Breen comes back, takes the corner beautifully, gets in front of Williamson, and he's made a definite statement there, I think, to Williamson, hasn't he?
Yeah, it certainly has. I wonder if the Breen expected to be battling with Williamson in the final stages of this race, because
no,
I don't
definitely
think
not.
I could have predicted that.
No, definitely not. And he's got to be careful, because remember, as you said, Boy Williamson, he's got 9 seconds worth of penalties. Breen has picked up penalty as well. I think he's got 3 seconds. So there is 6 seconds there. So really, you know, Williamson, if he was aware of this, I don't know if he'd necessarily be pushing so hard against the Breen.
Well, perhaps even if he did, no, I think.
Oh, he's made the move back.
He's just, yeah, he has made
he's made the move back into 12 on that DRS. Coming out of 10, round turn 11, he's made a difference back, got back ahead of De Breen, and I think we're going to pretty much be looking at this scene for the next 5 laps, Adrian.
Yeah, quite possibly. Look at him get away though. That's pretty good. I mean, he's the second ahead already after about 3 corners.
Yeah, but I mean, he's got 5 laps. He needs to get another 8 seconds at least down the road from De Breen. Can he do it? I mean, De Breen's on 30 lap old softs. He's on 11 old hyper softs. Can he do that? Can he pull out 9 seconds in the next 5 laps?
Well, he did 1.5 seconds on that last lap, so I would say maybe.
Yeah, there's, well, on that basis, I mean, he should be able to at least pull up another 7 to 8 seconds, but this is going to be very interesting indeed, because Boy Williamson now, you know, he's going to rue those penalties that he's got, but he does have an opportunity in the closing stages of this race to actually get 2nd place on that podium.
Yeah, I hope he does do it, because he's had an absolutely amazing race so far,
well,
despite the penalties.
Absolutely. Let's remind ourselves here, and I think this will put it into context. Boy Williamson started in 12th place. He's moved 10 places to get to that P2 position as it stands at the moment in time. Due to penalties, he won't hold that should the race finish now. He would actually finish 3rd, but that would still be 9 places. He has an opportunity to secure that 2nd place, but he needs to get a 1.5 seconds at least per lap between now and the close of this race to stand a chance, and it's even greater than that now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. I think Williamson, I don't think he'll be aware of the penalties of the other drivers. All he's focused on is going as absolutely as fast as he possibly can for the next 4 or 5 laps.
Yeah.
Just to ensure the best chance of taking P2.
And let's not forget, De Breen has made an error. He's got a 3-second time penalty. He could potentially make another error and pick up another 3 seconds.
Oh, Visser
has picked up 3 seconds again. So Nicky Visser now not doing himself any favours with that 3-second time penalty. We'll see how that pans out at the close of this race, because I'm really not able to work that out now, but I don't think it's going to help him, that's for sure.
Well, we'll find out in a few laps.
I'm sure we will. And Basta Breen now, he's now 2.6 seconds behind Boy Williamson. So it's only 3 seconds. He can make another 3 seconds, 3.5 seconds by my quick calculation there. That's what Boy Williamson needs to do in these final 4 laps. Can he do it? I think, do you know what? I think he's got an opportunity to do this. I really do.
Yeah, he's gained another 1.6 on the green. Is that?
And John Donkel picking up the 3-second time penalty there, the Force India driver as well. So let's quickly run through our runners and riders in reverse order. Zander Hermans for Mercedes, he's staying in there. It's his first season, fair play to him, but do you know what? He is finishing races, and that is what is important in this first season, to get that experience under your belt, finish the races, and I think he's going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on, certainly for season 2. Miguel Torney in the Force India, he's in P12, his teammate John Donkel, and he's in P11. Such a shame, because I really think he could have moved further up that field if he just hadn't stuck out and stayed on those hypers for so long. It was just totally, it really was, I think, unnecessary.
Yeah, quite right. My brain is still baffled. I don't quite know what
he was doing.
Thinking by doing that, but okay.
Well, Martin Paardekoper for Red Bull, he's closing in on the back of Mark Stappers for P9. He's currently P10, and I would suspect that he's going to be able to make that move reasonably soon, because he is on a much fresher set of hypers. And let's watch them here, round 30. Yeah, makes... Oh, no! Stappers is coming back. He's not letting it through.
Yeah, yep. And Ershine just pitted in with 3 laps to go.
He has. Ershine has pitted. And Rob Mulder picks up a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, new wing. He's got a new front wing.
Oh, so front wing damage for Ershine there. Meant he had to come in on the closing stages. Not what he wanted to do. Stappers picks up a 3-second time penalty, while he's trying to fight it out here with Paardekoper for that P9 position. Paardekoper got the move, yeah, easily done on the DRS. And you can just see Ershine coming out in the background there. So Paardekoper moves up to 8, Ershine is down to 10, Stappers is 9. Damie Hartman is provisional P7. He came in so early, didn't he? He was at P12 when he came in, and he has moved up, as I suspected, to round about that P7, hasn't he? So that pretty much looks like that's where he's going to be, I think, for the close of this race, isn't it?
Yeah, quite right. And he had a 5-second stop go, let's not forget, as well.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
He's done well to come back there.
He hasn't done too bad at all there. Marco Pullen, he's provisional P6 at this moment in time. Visser, his teammate, he's provisional P5. Rob Mulder is...
Sorry, Stappers just gone really wide at turn 8. And just lost the place to
Ershine. Yeah, so Stappers loses another place, and Ershine now takes P10. So, as I was saying, Rob Mulder, he's P4. Bas de Breen, he's still in P3. Boy Williamson is P2, and he is 4.5 seconds ahead of Bas de Breen as we're coming to the closing stages. This is going to be pretty nail-biting.
Providing that Ruben does do anything sort of silly on the last lap and takes the win here, he would have actually earned the Formula 1 Grand Slam, which is to start on pole, win the race, get fastest lap, and lead every lap. He's done all of those things apart from the pole position part.
Oh, what a crying shame!
Yeah,
what a crying shame. He now will rue the fact that he didn't get that pole position. But yeah, again, it just shows what a fantastic race this has been for Ruud Windahl. Phenomenal race. I mean, I don't think he's put a foot wrong from start to finish.
No. I mean, he had me worried at one point earlier on when I genuinely thought he called it wrong. I thought, strategy number 1 was the way to go, i.e., ultras to softs, the 1-stop. But no, I'm glad to be proved wrong on this occasion. I don't say that very often, but I am this time. Well, and it's quite a big gap as well. I mean, like 27 seconds to the next class.
That is a big gap. It's a convincing win. I'm just watching now on board with Visser. He's still challenging Rob Mulder, and I'm sure he's going to look to try and make that move before the close of this lap. But interestingly here, what I've just picked up, Bas de Breen is now 6.2 seconds behind Boy Williamson. And correct me if I'm wrong, taking into account their penalties, because Breen's got 3 seconds and Williamson, I think, has 9. That means Boy Williamson will actually place second on the podium.
Yeah, I think he's done enough. I think he's done enough. Well, he said he might. Oh, someone's just got fastest lap there. Who was that? That was Guido Ershine. He just got fastest lap on lap 52 on his brand new Ultras.
Hypers. So that just goes to show you there. So where are we now? We're on lap 53 with Ruud Windahl. He's just coming round sector 2 now, turn 9, coming into turn 10 now. On his final lap, Boy Williamson, he's a little bit further down the track, coming round now, and he's 6.2 seconds ahead of Basta Breen. This will be enough for him to secure that second place, but Basta Breen, he's only got 3/10. If he can take out 3/10 on this final lap, he can take that second place back. What is going to happen here? It still could be anyone's for that second place. I'm not even going to think about third place on that podium. And Ruud Windahl now coming around the final corner, takes the win. Ruud Windahl for Williams takes the win here at Sochi for the Russian Grand Prix race 16 of this F1 Tonight season. Boy Williamson comes round now the final set of corners. He's got Breen 6.1 seconds off the back of him. Can De Breen take out that 1/100th of a second or 2/100ths to secure that second place? Boy Williamson comes across, but De Breen comes across.
No.
Oh, no.
It's actually 2.8. I think De Breen must have got another one.
I think Breen lost it on that final corner because he was taking an awfully long time coming around that corner. I think he may have gone offline there on that final corner.
Oh, Visser. Sorry, Visser's just made a move on the last corner.
He has, on Rob Mulder, takes 4th place. Can he make it stick on that final corner? Oh, we've got to see the adjustments for the time, but I think he has. I think he has.
I think he's done it.
I think he has.
I mean, they were equal. They were equal on penalties. That was. Oh no. Were they?
I don't know if they were in. They must have been something.
Mulder's dropped. He's dropped behind Pullen.
So Visser takes 4th place. Pullen takes 5th place. Mulder. Oh, those penalties. You've got to work on that, my friend, because you put in a great race there, Rob. So Rod Mulder, he takes 6th place for Williams. But hats off, I've got to say, really phenomenal race. Best race I think I've seen from the Williams driver, and I've seen him do some good racing, but great race there. Very well deserved win for Ruud Windahl for Williams, but second place goes to Haas Damey. Well, fantastic result for him. Really, 10 places. Let's not forget, he started in P12. Sorry,
Boy, wasn't it?
Boy, sorry, not Damey. Boy started in P12, finishes in P2. Fantastic result there from Boy. I was thinking Damey because I was looking at the championship. Boy Williamson takes that second place, much deserved points there for him, 18 points. Basta Breen, surprisingly, we weren't expecting this, were we? He cases 3rd, no. Picks up 15 points. Nicky Visser, well, good race from him, really came back well. He finishes 4th, his teammate 5th. Marco Pullen. Rob Mulder finishes 6th. Williams.
Sorry, Pullen actually started 13th.
Yeah, he did.
Make up to 5th place.
He's done a great job. 8 places there. Rob Mulder for Williams finishes 6th. Damie Hartman for Haas 7th. Martin Parder-Cooper for Red Bull 8th. Guido Ershine for Renault 9. Mark Stappers for McLaren 10. John Donkel for Force India 11. Miguel Torni, his teammate 12. Zander Hermans for Mercedes finishes in 13th. Kevin Van Delft, he finishes in 14th place. Stan Drumkov, DNF. Jerome Portmer, DNF. Marcel France, DNF. Miguel France and Marcel Dronig, DNF as well. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Very, very much appreciated. We hope that you have enjoyed it. We certainly have. Well, I have anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Adrian, you know, for you and what did you think? I mean, what sort of comments do you have on this evening's race, and who was the shining star for you?
Well, the shining star without a doubt was Ruud Windahl. Yeah, right from the from the get-go, I'd have to say. You know, he wasn't phased by De Vrien's amazing hot lap during quali. I mean, his heart, like I said, he was half a second faster than anyone else. You know, you could put your house on him winning based on that pace, but it wasn't to be for him. And yeah, Ruud Windahl, he managed to win by nearly 30 seconds. So
yeah, it was.
Just goes to show it's not all down to quali.
It's not, and it was an absolutely phenomenal race. We hope you enjoyed it. We certainly have. We'll see you again next week. Not the same place, because we will be at the iconic Japan. And I can guarantee you that is a track that delivers fantastic racing. So don't forget, next Thursday, 17th, starting from 7:30 UK time, 8:30 Central European time. F1 tonight will be in Japan, and we will see you there for race 17. Thank you very much, everybody, and good night. We look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, good night, everyone.
Good night.